Bank. Well, let's bring in development economist Odelim Enwegbara to talk more on this. Good morning, Mr. Enwegbara, and thank you for joining us. Now, one factor that is a concern to investors is the economic and policy orientation of the new CBN governor and his pedigree as an independent-minded person. There's also still this lack of clarity on what his economic policy orientation may be. What's your take on this?
First of all, Harriet, thank you for inviting me. I believe that the statement he made yesterday that Naira will not be devalued is a political statement, and that's what he's supposed to say. But I will assure you that by the time he sits down and comprehensively the structure of our economy and the need to move this economy from where it is now to become an industrial and a growth-based economy, there's the tendency that the Naira should be devalued, the tendency that our foreign reserve need to be further depleted. That's the only way that we can move this economy from oil-based economy to industrial-based and service-based economy. The interest rates, what I think he has to do is to further do what Sanusi has done, move the CRR on public deposit to 95%, and drastically reduce CRR on private deposit to 5%. The reason to move CRR on public deposit to 95% is in order to remove public money that is not heady enough, is not contributing to the rail sector, but is being disseminated from government that goes back to government through the commercial banks. A deposit. It means that there will be more money to lend to the same private sector and to rail sector economy. He must do that. But for him to do that, I think there's a need to amend the CBN Act of 2007 so that the Monetary Policy Committee meetings of CBN has to be subjected to the Joint Committee of the Senate and House on banking for them to actually scrutinize the outcome and before its adoption. Because the monetary policy of this country cannot be left in the hands of technocrats, unelected technocrats.
But then doesn't this go against, sorry Mr. Enwegbara, for cutting you here. Doesn't this go against that part of the CBN Act that says the CBN is supposed to be autonomous in everything that he does?
Let me tell you, you see, the problem is that when we talk about autonomy in Africa, we never look at the realities on the ground. In the United States of America, that is the capital of world capital of capitalism, the Federal Reserve System is not autonomous. In fact, all the monetary policies of the Federal Reserve Bank is subjected to the approval of Congress. I'm 100% sure of what I'm telling you. So the autonomy the CBN has to have must be curtailed because CBN is being run by unelected officials. Because if you give CBN on such unrestricted autonomy, what if the CBN becomes, those who run CBN becomes friends of foreign interests? How do we safeguard our economy? I have no problem with the Emefiele. I have no problem with whoever that is running the monetary policy. But we have to be realistic. We have to move this economy in a way that it develops and in a way that it creates jobs. In fact, the monetary policy so far, when he said that we shall not devalue the Naira, because we are import dependent. If we are import dependent, why should we break ourselves away from being import dependent to become a manufacturing country or export dependent? That must be re-engineering of our monetary policy. Unless we want to continue being import dependent and then do our monetary policy to ensure that the value of the Naira is excessively high so that those who export to Nigeria will benefit and those Nigerians manufacturing will be put out of business.
Well, Mr.
We must
Ewegbara,
reduce the,
Mr.
we
Mr.
must, in
Ewegbara,
fact,
let me quickly
yes.
let me quickly cut you here so that we can speed up this conversation and move on to other things. Now, you mentioned that because the CBN, the position of governor of the central bank is usually not an elective one. Somebody is usually nominated. You don't do elections for it. Is there anywhere in the world where the CBN governor is usually elected? Maybe they hold elections to have a CBN governor. Because if, for instance, you're saying that the CBN governor should not, or the position, the section in the Act that says that the CBN is supposed to be autonomous in its decision making, it should be governed now or should be overseen by the Senate or the National Assembly, as the case may be. Don't you think it will begin to have, there's going to be conflict, for instance, in how it makes its decisions as regards policy? So is there anywhere in the world where you have a CBN governor that is elected and not nominated?
No. When I said the CBN governor is not elected, I did not say that CBN governor must be elected. What I'm trying to say, because the CBN governor is not elected, the CBN governor must be answerable to those elected. Because we elected these people to ensure that our economy grows, that's prosperity. So CBN governor that is not elected must be answerable, continuously answerable to those elected. Because those are the people who handed our economy to. Those are the people who handed our security to. So it is important that the CBN governor or the CBN board is answerable to those who elect. That's what I'm trying to say. Now look at the board. The CBN board. The CBN governor is the chairman of the board. Why should the CBN governor be the chairman of the board? Why can't we remove the chairmanship of the board from the CBN so the CBN governor should be answerable to an independent external body, so that it cannot be assessing itself. There's no way CBN can be assessing itself and become a sovereign entity within Nigerian sovereignty. That's what I'm trying to say. I have no problem with CBN being run by technocrats, but also we have to curtail the excesses of CBN, because Sanusi has shown that if CBN governor is given all the excesses he has, the CBN can be as autonomous and as sovereign as it is. True. Look at, for example, why shouldn't the president of this country, if he sees that the monetary policy of CBN is not favoring his government, not call the CBN governor to order? Why shouldn't the Senate and the House committees on banking call CBN to order, call CBN to show how its monetary policy is helping the economy grow? Why should CBN make foreign policy in terms of currency swap with other central banks and with the multilateral institutions without being subjected to regulative authorization? These are the issues we have to clean up. These are the issues we have to amend so that CBN, the little autonomy it has, and the autonomy it has to have will be autonomy in monetary policy, which is determining the exchange rate and the administration of our foreign reserves.
Well, it's a good thing that, Mr. Emefiele, it's a good thing that you actually mentioned that, because you see, the CBN designate now, CBN governor designate, Mr. Emefiele, says there's not going to be any devaluation in the Naira. Now, some are actually calling that if there isn't any devaluation, then maybe a redenomination of the Naira should actually happen. Do you think he should begin to look at that instead? Because right now we know that the Naira has been under pressure in the last couple of months. Between December and now, the central bank has had to really show up on the amount of money it actually sells at its RDAS. And so a lot of people are saying that, of course, we know that this is also putting immense pressure on the external reserves, which has dropped below $37 billion. And so is it the time now for the CBN governor designate to begin to think about a possible redenomination of the Naira if he says there's not going to be devaluation of the Naira?
Thank you so very much for asking this question, Harriet. Let me tell you, we all know that we are just avoiding the truth. The only thing CBN governor should think about, and I've always said it in my write-ups and anywhere I have the opportunity to speak, is let the monetary policy and fiscal policy makers come together and they appreciate that Nigerian economy is primarily dependent on the dollar because we're import dependent. Now, how do we exit dollar dependency? We should exit WTO so that we impose tariffs on foreign-made goods. If we impose high tariffs on foreign-made goods, and then we bring down by fiat interest rates to a single digit, I will assure you manufacturing production will be taking place in Nigeria, and the value of the naira will start appreciating. But all these all these artificial adjustments that do not reflect the reality of our economy will continue to be problematic. So I am not interested in the denomination of the naira. I'm not interested in giving the naira value that it doesn't deserve. I'm interested in allowing the naira to depreciate the level that it makes imports more expensive and makes locally made goods cheaper, so that those who are dumping goods in Nigeria, taking advantage of the arbitrage, and also those who are taking advantage of the arbitrage in our system, should now, because of the high interest rate and because of the high valued naira, should now be forced to relocate to Nigeria and take advantage of our 170 million consumer market. Unless we do this, we continue moving around the issue without solving the problem.
Well, Mr. Emefiele, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us this morning on the program.